So we all saw what Hank Cherry did in his recent Elite Series win on Guntersville on the curly tail grub, old school curly tail grub. And today that's what we're going to talk about. Haven't seen many videos out there about grubs, and I'm going to give you my spin on it. He said it's a custom hand poured grub of some sort. I'll show you the type of grub that I've liked to use over the years. Haven't used a grub a lot recently, but Hank Cherry's win was a good reminder of how effective they are in cold water. And if you want cold water, check that out. We're still frozen in places on this lake. The water's about 37, 38 degrees where it's not frozen, so should be a good place to give you a good solid example of how well this bait does or doesn't work in cold water. Please take a second to subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys watching. This should be a good one. I'll drop a description of the bait and setup throughout the video, so be sure to watch till the end so you can get all the information, and we're gonna see if we can't catch you guys some big ice cold winter bass. Thanks for watching. Oh, what do we have here? Is that a grub? Look at that. Man, people have grubs. Look at that thing. Never seen that before. Look at all those. So, grubs have basically turned the bass fishing world on its head recently because of the win brought to you by Hank Cherry at Lake Guntersville. And that was extremely bizarre. I mean, yes, we've all have grubs and we've all fished grubs over the years. A lot of us started on grubs, like you may have heard on TV or Facebook or YouTube or whatever else, whatever other platform we're talking about. But the manner he did it was very strange, and he was using a chartreuse grub, which I do not have. I don't have any chartreuse grubs. I didn't go buy any, but I do have these 4-inch Yamamoto grubs. And I should point out, this here is a 4-inch grub, and the 3-inch grub that he was throwing looked to be considerably bigger than this 4-inch grub that I've got in my hand. But let's go out and throw around a little bit, see if we can't catch something on one of these mysterious grubs. Old Moochie's gonna have to sit this one out. Got one on the grub. Oh, it's a good one too, boys. Look at that. This rod's so wimpy I can't hardly do anything with it. Ugh. Oh, that water's cold. Oh. There we go. Looks like it's a good bait. Oh my gosh. There you see it. The Yamamoto deformed tail grub there. Nice large mouth. Check this out. Water's flaking out. I guess it's too cold for it. There's the bass. There's the water temp. 38 degrees. Nice one on the old grub. Nice 38-degree water temp bass. 4-inch grub. There we go. On the old grub. That's a good one, boys. That's a good one. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh. That was real smart. Probably 3.5, 4 pounder on the old grub. Probably need to change rods. Alright guys, so with the grub, I'm changing rods here because I just lost a big one. There's a lot of talk about tail up, tail down. And I'm no expert, but I have thrown a grub a good bit in my life. And I always thread my grub tail down. And there are a couple of reasons why I do that. The first reason is, you know, growing up throwing these things, I was always told, and you can see it in the water, when the tail is down, you have better action because it's beneath the bait and it's going to catch more water. And I don't know if that's completely true, but the main reason I always rig my grub tail down is when you rig it tail up like this and a fish comes up and takes the bait. I've had this happen before, even with it down, but more often when it's up. This tail wants to come and hook itself on the hook, and it'll cause you to lose fish occasionally. Now, I just lost a fish with the tail down, but that was just because I tried to boat flip it. It was a big one. But for me, again, I'm not an expert like Hank, but I always rig my grubs tail down, and that's probably what I'm going to continue to do. Gosh, that's a big one. Oh yeah, big largemouth. Let's not try to boat flip this one, see if we can actually get this one in the boat. There we go. Yeah. Got that one, boys. The old 4-inch Yamamoto grub. That's on Old Faithful, the guppy head. Tail down, big bass. Nice one. Alright guys, so the setup on the grub, those first two fish we had there were on this hair jig rod. Purely out of laziness, I put it on this rod because it didn't have a bait on it. But that's a hair jig rod with a 3000 Bamford, if anyone's curious. 7.6 Daiwa Tatula. But I lost that fish, and the first fish I caught, it had it deep, but the hook didn't penetrate into its mouth real well, and that happens a lot of time. You can see the ice back there on top of the water. But this time of year, when the water's below 40 degrees like that, the fish's mouth is really hard. So this rod here is even probably too soft, but I'm kind of using a lighter jig head. But you need some backbone to get that, even these smaller hooks, to drive it on up into the fish, to get it into their mouth and past the barb. But the setup we're using here is the Custom Light. You might have saw that in my last video. Lew's Custom Light 7-foot medium light extra fast. You can see that extra fast tip there. Completely irrelevant with the grub, but we got some backbone. We got the Lew's shallow spool Custom Light reel. Been really loving that reel. It's the first Lew's reel I've had in years, but it's been nice. Got a really slick drag on it. 10-pound braid, 10-pound fluorocarbon leader, I think that is. But basically, we're just looking for cover on the bottom and just kind of slowly crawling this grub near the bottom until we see a fish on it. And when a fish starts to track this thing, I don't shake the rod or anything of that nature. It's just a slow, steady, lazy retrieve. Just kind of like this. Just super lazy. So if you're not scoping, you can pretty much just go down the bank or around points or whatever and count this thing down and just slowly crawl it once you figure out how deep the fish are. But that's pretty much it. 3/16 ounce guppy head there. That's a 4-inch Yamamoto grub. They're ancient. These grubs are ancient. That first one I was using, half the bag is deformed where it's been hanging on my wall in the garage for so long. But thanks to Hank, we got the grubs back out. I'm not even sure what color this is. Can't see it. It's wiped off the bag. But I'll show you here. Like, these things are so old because it's been a while. That one's actually got a good tail on it. But the tails are kind of creased on them. See that? But this has always kind of been one of my go-to colors on the grub. Haven't thrown it a lot since I got scoped. Been mostly doing minnows and swim baits. There's my other favorite color, smoke black flake. Both pretty much staples in the grub world. Everybody knows about them. But I know that's not the chartreuse Hank was using, but just wanted to show you guys that these things do work really well. A lot of people do know about it, but Hank kind of put it back into the limelight. Congratulations, Hank Cherry, on that Elite Series victory. I know we've got the scope on today, but that doesn't change the fact that we're getting bit in 38-degree water with ice in the coves. I'll show you here. There you can see it, actually 37-degree water. But the lake here just now kind of started to thaw, and the fish are really hard to get to bite. But we're getting some of them to bite. But any kind of medium light, as long as you got some backbone in your rod, because the water's so cold, you got to get that hook into their mouth when they eat it. Pretty much anything will work. 8-pound leader, 10-pound leader, just whatever kind of braid you can cast that on whatever reel you have. Just if you're scoping, just watch it on your screen, and when they start to track it, don't start popping it around or shaking it like a minnow. In this cold water, just let them track it. If they're going to eat it, they'll eat it. It might take them a while. Don't pull it away from them. But if you're just going down the bank, it's pretty obvious you're going to just slowly crawl this thing. It doesn't take much to get that grub tail to kick. That's probably why it's so popular in cold water. Or I don't know if I can say so popular, but why it's always been a cold water staple over the years, 20-30 years ago, however long ago. But that's it for the setup, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you next time.